What's up, guys? I wanted to make a video for people who don't already study Esperanto because many people have a goal of learning another language, but they just feel like they're not good at it or language is too difficult. And so I wanted to talk about why Esperanto is easier to learn and why this is a language you could actually learn. The first thing to talk about is the phonology and the writing of Esperanto, because whenever you learn a language, the first things you have to learn are the sounds and how you write it. Esperanto is completely phonetical. This means that everything is written the way that you say it, and everything is said the way that it's written. Each letter makes one sound, and each sound can only be written in one way. So look at English, you have cough, tough, though, and through. The OUGH is the same in all four of these words, but it makes four different sounds. This doesn't happen in Esperanto, so it makes it so much easier to read and to write. Let's look at some Esperanto examples. Simio, iri. The four I's are pronounced the same. Perdu, urju. The three U's are pronounced the same, and the R's are pronounced the same. Egala. In this word, the two A's are pronounced the same. This is just to show you that the letters are pronounced the same independent of what word it is. One of the best parts about writing in Esperanto is that you don't have any accent marks, but you still know where the accent is, because it's always on the second to the last syllable. Half of the alphabet is the same as English. In addition to that, almost all of the sounds in Esperanto are also in English. The next topic is grammatical genders, and really the only thing you need to know is that there are none, but just in case you don't know what it is, I'm going to explain using Spanish. La mano, el hombre. In these two words, the word for the is different because they're different genders. If you said el mano or la hombre, that would be wrong. Las manos, los hombres. La mano pequeña, las manos pequeñas. El hombre pequeño, los hombres pequeños. Genders by themselves aren't really that difficult, but when everything has to match together, it's really easy to make a mistake. In Esperanto, you don't have the opportunity to make that mistake because they don't even exist. Now we're going to talk about everybody's favorite thing, verb conjugations. In English, there is to have, I have, you have, he, she, it has, we have, they have. So only one of them changes. All the rest of them is just have. In Spanish, however, it's a totally different story. Tener, tengo, tienes, tiene, tenemos, tienen. I don't actually speak Spanish, so I hope my pronunciation wasn't that bad, but the point is you have 5 different words for the same verb in the same tense, and it's really easy to mess that up. But luckily, in Esperanto, you don't have to conjugate the verbs like that. Havi, mi havas, vi havas, li, she, ĝi havas, ni havas, ili havas. Every verb conjugates exactly the same way. So the as ending is the present tense. If I gave you a different verb, you could conjugate that verb into the present tense because all of the verbs conjugate exactly the same way. The endings of the words in Esperanto are especially important because they tell you what part of speech it is. All the nouns end in O, the adjectives with A, almost all of the adverbs end in E, the verbs in the infinitive form take the I, the present tense is AS, past tense is IS, future OS, conditional US, and the imperative is U. And all of the plurals, you just have a J at the end. In Esperanto, if you look at a word, you can tell what it is. It's not like in English where one word could be a verb, an adjective, or a noun. In Esperanto, you always know what you're looking at. So far, all we've talked about is the grammar, so let's talk about the vocab. The vocabulary comes from English, German, Romance, and Slavic languages. Esti, to be, is very similar to Spanish, estar. Cato is similar to cat, and gato from Spanish again. Hundo is similar to the English word hound, which is basically another word for dog. It's also similar to the German word Hund. Domo comes from Russian dom. Mangi is similar to Italian and French. Rapida is similar to the English word rapid and the Spanish word rapide. The reason I point this out is because you can recognize a lot of the vocabulary. Esperanto is an agglutinative language, which basically means you learn roots of a word and then you add things to it to get more words. Varma is hot. The prefix mal means the opposite. So when you add mal to something, it now means the opposite of what it did before. Mal varma is the opposite of hot, which is cold. Alta is tall. Mal alta, the opposite of tall, is short. Ulo is person. Yuna is young. So yunulo, a person in their youth or an adolescent. Now if you add mal back into the equation, you have mal yunulo. So instead of talking about a young person, you're talking about an elderly person. Ino is a feminine suffix. Yunulo is a young person, but yunulino is specifically a young woman. And mal yunulino is specifically an old woman. Ido means the offspring of something or the baby version of it. Hundo is dog. Hundido is a baby dog, which is what we call a puppy. Kuniklo is rabbit. So who could tell me what kuniklido means? It means a baby rabbit, but what's a baby rabbit called? A baby rabbit in English is called a kit. Now, I didn't know what that was in English, and I'm a native speaker of English, but I automatically knew what that was in Esperanto. The reason I use that last example is because in Esperanto, when you see new words, you have a pretty good chance of figuring out what it means by just looking at the pieces of it. In English, you usually can't do this, and so it makes learning vocabulary a lot slower because you have to learn different words for everything. In Esperanto, you just have a root and you add things that you already know to it. Those are some of the main reasons of why Esperanto is easier to learn than most of the other languages. So if you're interested in learning Esperanto, there's links to other channels and resources below. Don't forget to give me a like and subscribe, and thank you for watching.